Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. Now, what is a companion video? Well, I'm glad that you asked. You see, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we save a little bit of time to take some live questions, but we often don't have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. I want to make sure those questions get answered in a video, so I gather up those unused questions and we address them here in companion videos. My voice is still on vacation, as you can tell. Maybe it'll come back sometime soon, so I hope you can bear with me as we get through the questions today. All right, let's start getting caught up here. And we're going to start off with Weekle23, who writes, I think Thanos will still win the first act battle. The Avengers will then have to find an alternative plan to change the snap, enter the Ant. Well, I mean, that's possible. See, my theory for a while has been that the Avengers battle Thanos in the first act, maybe even beat him in the first act. However, beating him does not get the results they want. They still find out they can't undo the snap, and therefore they go back to Earth defeated, and then Scott comes out of the quantum realm, proposes a new plan, yada, yada, yada. Do they confront Thanos in the first act and lose and retreat? I don't know. I mean, it's possible. And actually, in some ways, it kind of fits the narrative that we have right now. The only reason I have any doubts about it, and it's not hardline doubts, just mild doubts, is because would Captain America retreat? Would Captain America, believing that defeating Thanos is the only way to bring everybody back, would Captain America retreat under those circumstances? Or would he stand there on his last breath saying, I can do this all day? See, so I just don't know if I see Captain America retreating. I think he would keep fighting till he died if he thought it was to save the universe. So I don't know. It's an interesting theory, man. Let's see how it pans out. We're going to find out really soon. Okay, Rusky9110 writes, do you think box office numbers are nearing their ceiling? There's only so many seats in so many theaters with a limited number of showings. Well, this is one of the things I've been saying for a while. You know, people say, because, you know, Infinity War set the record with 250 million opening weekend. And now some people are guessing 300 million. The problem is this. When a theater is sold out, it's sold out. I mean, that's just it. Whether a screening sells out in 3 minutes, whether a screening sells out in 3 hours, whether a screening sells out in 3 days, or whether a screening sells out in 3 weeks, it's sold out. Selling out faster doesn't earn more money. Sold out is sold out. And there are only so many screens with so many seats and only so many screenings they can do because it's a 3-hour movie. Is there a theoretical ceiling? Yes, there is a ceiling. There is a maximum number that these movies can make, an absolute maximum theoretical number. There is that maximum. It exists. So the question is, what's the difference? Like, how many empty seats were there when Infinity War came out? In its opening weekend screenings, how many empty seats were there? Were there $1 million worth of empty seats? Were there $5 million worth of empty seats? Were there $10 million worth of empty seats? Or were there $50 million worth of empty seats? Because that's what it's going to take. For Endgame to make 300 million opening weekend means that there was $50 million worth of empty seats on the opening weekend of Avengers Infinity War. Were there that many empty seats? I don't know. It's possible, maybe. Understanding the national average ticket price is $10. That means that opening weekend of Infinity War, you would have needed 5 million empty seats. Were there 5 million empty seats when Infinity War played? I don't know. It's possible. That's why when people say to me, it's going to make 350 million opening weekend, I say, yeah, but there's a maximum that it can make. Because it doesn't matter how many people want to see it. There's only so many chairs in only so many screens that only sells for so much. There is a theoretical limit. So we're getting close. We're getting damn close to whatever that theoretical limit is. And I do think Endgame is going to take us closer to that theoretical limit than we've ever been before. So how close to it? We'll find out pretty soon. All right, Dominick Francis writes, here in the UK, they show lots of commercials. They then show a countdown and the movie certificate screen and still show 2 or 3 more commercials after. Dude, we talked about on the John Campea Show earlier today how infuriating it makes me, how infuriating it is to me that we pay money. It's not a free screening. We pay money for movie tickets. Even if you're using A-list, you're paying for that membership. We pay money for these movie tickets for a 7 o'clock show, and you don't start the show till 7:25, and you subject us to 20, 25, 30 minutes of commercials. Even if they're trailers, it's still ads. So I'm on top of paying you money to come see it, you're now going to make me sit through nearly a half hour of ads? It's outrageous. And I understand and I believe that going to the movies, trailers is a part of the movie-going experience. Fine for a trailer or two, but 20, 25, 30 minutes of trailers and commercials and ads after we've paid to be there, unacceptable. And man, dude, Dominic, what you're describing to me sounds like my nightmare. Sounds like my nightmare. I don't know how you put up with it, my man. Okay, let's see. Leo Millman writes, theoretically, if Disney and marketing decided 2 months ago that they wanted Endgame to make under $1 billion, could they do that? Sure. Just limit the amount of screenings it has. That's simple. Don't market it. Pardon me. Don't market it. And make a deal with the theaters that they can only put it on 1 screen per cinema. Simple. So yes, if for some theoretical reason they wanted for the movie to make under $1 billion, they could do it that way. Another way would be put all the spoilers in a trailer. Put out a trailer 2 weeks before the movie comes out that give all the major spoilers away. That'll lower the box office. I mean, so yeah, yes, if a studio wanted to make sure they made under $1 billion, even Endgame could make under $1 billion. All right, Milton Jarrah writes, when Marvel announced all their upcoming movies, I was just starting high school, and I remember thinking, wow, I'm going to be in college by the time 4 comes out, and now it's so close, and I'm so excited for this movie. That's the thing, Milton. We have been living with this MCU now for over 10 years. 10 years we've been watching as this story has unfolded. Now, I had a debate with a friend of mine the other day who said, really, the MCU is just one big story. And I said, no, there is a big story that runs through the MCU, but the MCU still is a collection of individual movies. And that might sound like there's a fine difference. I believe it's a big difference. So there are some people who believe that the MCU is just really one big story. I disagree. I believe there is a big story that runs throughout them. But really, at its core, the MCU is a collection of individual movies. Ant-Man has very little to do with the overall story of Thanos. Ant-Man and the Wasp had very little to do with the overall story of Thanos. Iron Man 2 had almost nothing to do with the overall story of Thanos. On and on and on. We can pull up a whole ton of them. The MCU is a collection of individual films with an underlying story that is run throughout. At any rate, we have been living in this shared cinematic universe now for 10 years. And for a lot of us, I mean, I have a hard time remembering when I wasn't watching Supernatural. Next season will be its 15th season. So there are a lot of people who can't remember when there weren't MCU films going on because it's been 10 years. So it feels like it's been with us forever. And yeah, it kind of marks momentous occasions in our lives. And as we count down the clock now to coming up to Avengers Endgame, and let's not forget, guys, it still is. It's an important movie in the MCU, but at the end of the day, it is just another film in the MCU. I know it feels totally weird to put it like that, but really, this is yet the next installment in the MCU. And then 2 months later, we're getting the next installment, Spider-Man Far From Home. And then less than a year after that, we'll get another installment in whether it's Black Widow, whether it's Doctor Strange 2, whether it's Black Panther 2, The Eternals, whatever. We're going to get the next installment and then the next installment. But it is really weird, Mill, when you think of it in those terms. When you look at the MCU by the major mileposts in our lives, entering high school, now getting into college, graduating, all that kind of stuff, it is funny how long this MCU has been with us along the way, which only adds to the specialness of Endgame coming out in just a couple of weeks. So that's a big one. Thanks for sharing that, Milton. I appreciate that, man. All right. Alan Gonzales writes, I hate when they play behind the scenes of the movie you're going to watch. Oh, dude, me too. What the hell? What the hell? I'm in a movie theater. I've paid money to see a particular movie. And before the movie starts, you got to show some behind the scenes. And by the way, footage from the movie I'm about to watch. Like, you're giving things away to the movie I'm now sitting in my chair to watch. Why are you promoting a movie to me that I've already paid a ticket for to come and see? Dude, I'm with you 100%. That drives me bonkers. I don't know I don't understand the logic behind that, Alan, and I'm with you. It totally drives me crazy. Okay. Afolk Egodo writes, John, over under 25%, that Captain Marvel remembers and acknowledges Captain America in Endgame from MCU American history. That's a great question. You know, I got to take over. Captain America was a national hero in the military. I've got to believe that I believe probably everybody in that era in the MCU universe had probably heard of Captain America. And I definitely believe anybody in the armed forces would have heard of them. So you know what? Great question, man. I'm going to take the over 25%. I think Captain Marvel's going to meet Captain America and go, wait a minute, you're the Captain America. I hadn't thought of that before, but you raise a great point. I'm with you. Over 25% on that. All right. Thomas Lunn writes, Build-A-Bear Thanos Toy speaks a couple of spoiler lines, and they released it. What the hell? Your thoughts, Google at your own risk. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked at it. I haven't heard it. I don't intend to. Look, take this with a grain of salt that my wife works in the toy industry. Like, my wife is a senior over at Hasbro. But the toy industry does face an interesting conundrum. They have to get their toys in process, and they have to get their toys in marketing, and in some cases, they have to get their toys on the shelves before a movie hits the screen. That's when toys sell. Unfortunately, that means there are some toys, and by the way, all toys are approved by the studios. If they're Batman toys and they hit the shelf, they were approved by Warner Brothers. If they're Avengers toys and they're on the shelves, that means they were approved by Disney. But it is a tricky thing. You've got to have these toys. And they go into development on these toys a year before the movie ever comes out. So they have this ticking clock. And they've got to get these toys on the shelves before the movies hit the screens. That's when they start selling. But it does create a conundrum that sometimes some of these toys will give some things away. Look, all I can say is that I acknowledge it's a problem. I don't know what the answer is. The answer isn't saying to the toy industry, don't earn a living, don't do your business, because that's not the answer. But there has to be some kind of middle ground. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, but it is a tough predicament for everybody involved. Yellow Does It writes, Thanos dies, Ronan loses an arm, add something. Thanos dies, Ronan loses an arm, Black Widow possesses the power cosmic. There we go. I just threw one out there. I don't really believe that, but why not? That sounds good. Black Widow will come into possession of the power cosmic in this movie. There you go. And she's the one that kills Thanos. Okay, Jeremy Miller writes, do you think Sharon Carter got dusted, or will she come back to continue romance with Cap? I believe she got dusted. Even if she didn't dust, I don't believe we're going to see her in the movie. And it still sounds like, despite the romance, Cap is still hooked on her great aunt. Cap is still hooked on Peggy. So I don't think we're going to see Sharon Carter play a role in this movie. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe she appears in the movie. That would be great. I like her a lot in the movies. But I think she got dusted. I'm joking. There we go. I believe she got dusted, so there you go. We'll find out pretty shortly. Okay, Thomas Lunn writes, you've just passed 60 million views, John. Congrats. Yeah, I saw that. Somebody else wrote that to me. I get my channel, the John Campea YouTube channel, just passed 60 million views. So thank you to everybody who supported the channel and contributed to that. Hopefully within a year, we'll get to 100 million views, and maybe I'll throw a big 100 million view party here in LA like we did when I was at AMC and we hit 100 million views. Maybe when I finally hit 100 million views, we'll throw some kind of party here. So thanks for the well wishes, Thomas. I appreciate that. Thanks for pointing that out. Fanable writes, I agree that the Fox logo at the front of Star Wars would be wrong. But could they play the fanfare music at least? Although it's only 20 seconds long, I see where this comes from is a matter of, hey, now that Disney owns Fox, can Star Wars start putting the Fox logo and the Fox, fanfare at the beginning of Star Wars movies again? And we talked about this before, and what I said was, as much as I get a kick out of that, it would be wrong to do it. Fox had nothing to do with the making of this movie. Star Wars Episode 9, they had nothing to do with it. It would make as much sense putting a Fox logo and fanfare in front of Star Wars Episode 9 as it would be putting a Pixar logo and fanfare in front of Star Wars Episode 9. Fox didn't make it. Lucasfilm did. And Lucasfilm would rightfully be really pissed off if all of a sudden Disney started slapping other studios' logos in front of the movies that had nothing to do with the movie. It would be deceiving. It would be a massive misdirect, and it would be dishonest. It would also be dishonorable. It would be dishonorable to the people who did work on the movie. But I feel like the visual logo and the musical fanfare is the same thing. That musical fanfare is the Fox fanfare. And at the end of the day, it would be a good kick to hear it in front of the Star Wars movies, but ultimately it's not important. It won't make the movie any better. It would just give us a little kick of nostalgia, but that's it. But it's still Fox's fanfare, and Fox had nothing to do with it, so I'm going to guess you're not going to see that, Fanable, and nor do I think they should. Honestly, I don't think they should. Let's see. Christopher Harper writes, "Hey, John, it's been a week since the tickets for Endgame went on sale. I bought tickets to my favorite theater today with great seats. Yeah, but I bet it's not opening night. Like, I'm sure a lot of people could get great tickets, especially now. You can get great tickets, but they won't be opening night. Like, probably opening night in the theater near you is sold out, but there's always more tickets to be had, which is why I don't understand people who spend huge amounts of money on scalper tickets for these. Why? Just buy tickets for the next day for $10 and you're good to go, man." Anyway, that's just the way I see it. Anyway, Christopher, glad you got your tickets, man. All right, Grandmaster writes, "I tell you what happens. Thanos will kill himself because he doesn't like to get killed. The Avengers will fight him, and he breaks, then kills himself." That's an intriguing, kind of like Kurosawa samurai mentality, right? Kind of like that. Like if he gets defeated, he takes his own life. He would rather take his own life, and there's more honor in that than falling at his enemy's sword. Maybe. You know what? At first that sounded ridiculous, but now, no, maybe he does have a little bit of a samurai mentality. Maybe he does. I'll tell you what, Grant, I'm going to keep my eye open for that. I think that's a possibility. All right, Darien Boyd writes, 2 local family-run theaters were shut down a while ago. That's unfortunate. Nearest theater is 15 minutes away. Sucks not having a walking distance IMAX. Mom and pops forever. Or mom and pops for the win. Well, I don't know. I'm going to guess that the mom and pop theaters probably didn't have an IMAX screen. I'm just guessing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and guess that the mom and pop theater probably didn't have an IMAX screen. And it is unfortunate that the smaller theaters and stuff like that are going out of business, but that's look, they would stay in business if people went to them. I mean, I feel bad about it, but I mean, that's up to us. That's up to you and up to me to go to these local theaters. Now, to me, my local theater is an AMC. I'm a 10-minute walk, 12-minute walk from a giant AMC theater, so that's mine. But if there was a smaller, more local one, and they had movies I wanted, I'd go support that. But more people need to do it. But at least you got a theater that's not too far away that you can go see Endgame, Darien. All right. Kong Mengs Young writes, 1 of 3. It's not about what we lost, it's about what we have left. Doesn't it sound like Tony is accepting what has happened and wishes to move forward? What are the chances that Tony Prime is dead? And this quote is Tony from a different timeline where he survives but Pepper dies. Would be cool if in this timeline Tony becomes director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and an alcoholic and the Avengers must convince him to help save our timeline. Okay, there's a lot in there, Kong, to unwrap. Number one, it doesn't sound to me like Tony's accepted the things and wants to move on. It sounds like completely the opposite to me. It's not about what we lost. It's about what we've got left. That's what they're fighting for. And it's what they're fighting with. I understand how you saw it. I do, and maybe you're right. I kind of see it the other way. I heard it as a statement of defiance, not a statement of acceptance. I heard it as a statement of defiance. Now, as far as all this, what if we hop in and out of different realities and this is a different Tony and that's a different Tony? It's possible. A lot of people have that theory. There are a lot of people out there who have that theory right now. My one thing is it gets a little, it starts to get really convoluted. It starts to get really convoluted. So, I don't know. I tend to not gravitate towards the theories that get heavy into stuff that they would do on a CW show. What if this is Tony Stark from Universe 17X5 and they pull that Tony Stark with 15 other Tony Starks and they have to do this and this one has blue hair and is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and blah. Like, I tend to gravitate away from any storyline like that sounds like it could come out of one of the CW Arrowverse shows, because I don't think that's how Disney does it. And I think you can alienate audiences when you do stuff like that. And that's not me saying they won't do it. That's not me saying they won't do it, okay? Let's be clear about that, because people love misquoting me. All I'm saying is I gravitate away from that. I tend to believe they won't do that, but who knows? We'll have to find out. But yeah, getting back, the most interesting thing you're mentioning there to me is that whole part about, was that statement about it's not what we lost, it's about what we have left. You interpret it, and I know a lot of people interpret it as a statement of acceptance, and I think that's fascinating. But to me, what makes the statement so fascinating is that you can look at it the other way, which is the way I look at it, in that it's a statement of defiance. And that's what excites me, and I'm really curious to see how they actually play all that out. Thanks for sending that in, Kong. All right, next one up. Ryan Gospler writes, in the clip with them planning to go get Thanos, the music builds up at the end, then cuts off. I think this is the scene before the title. What do you think? When Cap says, let's go, it seems to cut off. I don't want to say this 100%, Ryan, but at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, they showed us a longer version of that clip, both before and I believe after. So like where the clip starts on YouTube, we actually saw about 30 seconds before that. And where it ends, I believe we saw a little bit after. So if I'm remembering it correctly, then no, the music doesn't actually cut off there. I think that was just done for that clip. And I believe the scene continues on after that and doesn't lead into the opening credits. So as far as I remember, maybe I'm not remembering it right. I'll double check with Rob because he was there too. But I'm pretty sure that's the way it played out. Anyway, interesting observation though, Ryan. Okay, Zong Menziong writes, or Kong Miang Zong writes, how much would assigned seating affect box office, if at all? Would people be less inclined to buy tickets if their preferred seats aren't available? Yes, but remember, it's always been a case in, even before, like my local theater here, before they instituted pre-assigned seating, they would tell you at the box office, I gotta say, hey, go up and say, hey, I want 2 tickets for Avengers. They say, okay, but just so you know, only singles and front row are still left. Do you still want the ticket? And a lot of times I'd then go, hell no. Especially if me and a friend or two are there. Like, we don't want singles, we want to see the movie together. So we'd go, no. And then they say, okay, well, we have another showtime that has some more seats, and we get that. So, well, yes, there are some people who would look at a movie, and if they see there's only crappy seats left, would they take a pass? Yeah, but we could always do that before. And you just get it for another screening. So I really don't see it affecting the box office much at all. If I want to go see a movie, even if my preferred seats aren't available, I'll take just about any seat as long as it's not a crap one. But if all that was left was crap, I wouldn't have gone to see it anyway, even if it wasn't pre-assigned seating. I would have not bought the ticket, or I would have walked out and said, yeah, I just want a refund, please. And that's what I've done. So I really don't think it would affect the box office all that much. It's a good thought. It's a good question. But honestly, I don't think it would affect it that much at all. Carolina 29593 writes, Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Well, that would be great if it was a Christmas movie, but even, John McClane himself has said it's not a Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas movie. Let's be clear on that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Ben Fair writes, John, I tweeted you proof somebody paid $15,000 for Endgame tickets on eBay. Captain Exclusive on Twitter. I still don't believe it. I think it's probably, I just can't believe anybody's actually that dumb. I think it's probably a hoax or something like that. Anyway, might be true, but I just can't believe people are that stupid. Zachary Buckler writes, over under 15%, no Hulk until the third act of Endgame. Wow. I'll take 15%'s really low. 15% no Hulk until the third act of Endgame. I'll take over. I mean, I don't think that's the case, but 15%'s a low number, Zachary. So that's a tough one not to take the over on. So I'll take the over on that. The bearded one writes, watched Outsider on Netflix, loved it. I can't remember which one that one is. I'll have to check it out though. Let's see. Abdallah Bouzid writes, Endgame opens on the 24th in France, feeling a bit special. Yeah, there are a number of countries around the world that they are actually getting Endgame a day or two before we're getting in North America, which is fine. North America gets movies first all the time. Why not have it so international markets can get it a few days ahead first? Why not? I think that's great. I hope you have a great time at it. Abdallah, enjoy it. Have fun with it. Make sure you tweet that you liked it, but don't tweet out spoilers, dude. Don't tweet out spoilers. Don't be that guy. Review Bra writes, there's a theory that Ant-Man will crawl up, this is very popular out there, that Ant-Man will crawl up Thanos' arse and expand into giant form to deliver the final blow. Well, there's two problems with that. Number one is, of course, the Russo brothers have already shot that theory down. So that's that. The second thing is this. Thanos' body is way stronger than Scott's body. If Scott, imagine this. Imagine taking a balloon and putting it inside a thick concrete ball, okay? A big, thick concrete ball. And now you've got a little straw going in that balloon. Now you're trying to blow up that balloon. What's going to happen? Nothing. Nothing. It's just going to rupture and destroy the balloon. Nothing's going to happen to the concrete ball. The concrete ball will be fine. If Ant-Man tried to do that, Thanos' body is way tougher, is way more dense, way more powerful than Scott's body. So what'll happen is Scott will try to expand, his body will collapse in on itself, and Thanos will just crap him out. All the bloody, disembodied parts of Scott would just come, squirting out. So it wouldn't work. But anyway, you don't have to worry about seeing that on screen because the Russo brothers already took to social media and shot that down. All right, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion videos. We are now all caught up. Thank you to all you guys who sent in questions during the live show. And remember, guys, when you send in those questions on the live show, don't worry, even if we don't get around to them on the live show, and we do get around to most of them, but even if we don't, your questions do get answered here on companion videos. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. Don't forget to come back tomorrow and join us for another episode of the John Campea Show. And until next time, bye-bye.